It is natural for a parent to trust a child and to rely on that child to provide them with the care and assistance they need in their older years. Unfortunately, too often we hear of children who have abused that trust and have used it to gain a financial benefit for themselves. This is one of those stories. Nadia is a 75-year-old widow. She was born in Lebanon, she speaks Arabic, and she cannot read or write in any language. She has a house which she lives in Mount Pritchard, which is subject to a mortgage that she took out to pay for her husband's funeral. Nadia has 3 children, Samia, Joseph, and Pierre. In 2006, Nadia was in a car accident which left her with limited mobility and in need of care. Later on in 2011, Nadia approached Samia and she asked Samia if she would be her carer. Samia and her husband Bashir moved in with Nadia. At that time, Nadia's other son, Joseph, was also living in the house. In effect, it was Joseph who provided Nadia with the care she needed, and Samia provided very little assistance. Nadia also arranged for Samia to have access to her bank accounts and her bank card, but the result was that Samia prevented her mother from being able to spend her own money. In the same month that she moved into the house, Samia took her mother to see a solicitor. They met at a cafe. At the cafe, the solicitor would speak in English to Samia, Samia would speak in Arabic to her mother, and then she would translate back to the solicitor in English. When Nadia asked what everything was about, Samia explained that they were just getting things in order so that Samia could be the carer for Nadia, and that they were doing a power of attorney. When in fact, one of the documents they were signing was a transfer document. It transferred Nadia's home to Samia, and the document said that Samia was paying the purchase price of $280,000, although Nadia never saw any of the money. Samia and her brother Pierre entered into a strange arrangement. At the time of the transfer, the property was still subject to a mortgage, so they wouldn't have been able to do the mortgage without the bank's permission or without paying off that mortgage debt. So Pierre agreed to pay off the debt on the provision that Samia would hold the house on trust for him. So even though the house would be in Samia's name, it would be held on trust for Pierre. Pierre also paid all the legal fees for the transfer, and he paid Samia an additional $50,000. In 2012, Nadia invited Pierre to also live in the house with them. So now it was Nadia, Pierre, Samia and her husband Bashir, and Joseph all living in the house. Tensions arose between Pierre and Samia's husband Bashir, which resulted in Samia and Bashir leaving the house. Nadia gave Pierre authority to deal with her bank accounts, and he became her carer and received a carer's payment. In late 2012, Pierre took $42,000 from Nadia's bank account. Also in December 2012, Nadia went and saw a solicitor, and it was only then that she found out that she no longer owned her own home, that it was actually in Samia's name. Both Nadia and Pierre started legal proceedings to try to protect their right to own the house. Nadia, because it had originally been her house and she hadn't known that she was transferring it, and Pierre, because he had paid the mortgage and paid $50,000 in legal fees on the provision that Samia would hold the house on trust for him. Pierre died before his claim could be determined, and his estate decided not to continue legal proceedings on his behalf. Nadia claimed that Samia had gotten the property transferred to her with fraudulent misrepresentation, unconscionable conduct, and undue influence, and the court agreed and ordered that the house was to be transferred back to Nadia. Unfortunately, we don't know what would have happened with Pierre's claim because it never got finalized, and it could have made a huge difference in this case. As it is, it's wonderful that Nadia got her house back. In the process, her relationship with 2 of her children was lost when she found out that Samia had taken advantage of her and Pierre had assisted his sister to do so. An interesting element of this case was the failure of the solicitor to identify a conflict of interest. They were giving information and taking instructions from 2 people. Nadia was the client, but they couldn't communicate directly with Nadia. They could only communicate through Samia, who was gaining the benefit of the house. At the very least in this situation, the solicitor involved should have been ensuring that Nadia got the payment and that it was market value payment for the house. At the most, what the solicitor should have been doing was insisting on a translator be involved and not dealing with Samia at all. Hopefully, you wouldn't see a case like this nowadays, where solicitors are trained to be more cautious and to take further steps to ensure that they're acting for their client and that their client is aware of what's happening. So that is my case for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you join me for my next one.